This video contains some spoilers about the game's story. If you don't want to know anything about the plot and figure that out on your own, you can skip the story part of this review by pressing the annotation that will pop on your left. Thanks! It's been quite a while since Halloween has passed, and as usual, I'm a little late. A lot of zombie games have been released recently, but too often have they not succeeded in conveying that deep feeling of doubt and creepiness you get in real horror games, like in Fear or Fatal Frame for instance. Zombies have been way overused lately and tend to become unsurprising with a limited AI and predictable actions. Although amazing games like Left 4 Dead, Armored 2's DayZ mod, or The Walking Dead have hit the market, zombies are found in a huge amount of other titles like Call of Duty, Red Dead Redemption, or Sniper Elite V2, and too often become a mere excuse for endless slaughters and gore. Hopefully, some developers still work hard to deliver the player a real horrific experience by making games with a deep and chilling background story. True horror games are games that send chills down your spine and in which a tense and gloomy atmosphere is progressively built around the player, and some games this year have done a pretty good job, like Outlast. Outlast was developed by a young Montreal-based studio called Red Barrels, founded by people previously involved in many great franchises such as Assassin's Creed, Uncharted, Splinter Cell, or even Prince of Persia. Released end 2013 for the PC and early 2014 for the PS4, Outlast stands as one of the best horror games of this year and brings up a lot of good ideas in terms of presentation and gameplay. The game has been critically acclaimed upon release with an average of 80% on Metacritic and uses the Unreal Engine 3, which makes it damn beautiful and immersive. I mean, does the game even look dull with the Unreal Engine? Splinter Cell Conviction and Bioshock still used the Unreal Engine 2, originally released in 2001, and looked badass. But let's get back to Outlast. The story. You get in the shoes of Miles Upshur, an indie journalist determined to understand the strange events occurring in Mount Massive Asylum, a strange place shut down in 1971 and reopened in 2009 under the guise of a company called Murkoff. Right after entering the asylum, Miles discovers the bodies of the asylum staff and disfigured inmates lurking the corridors. Despite the warnings of an impaled policeman he finds early in the game, Miles decides to keep taking a look around with the help of his camera before being brutally attacked by a powerful inmate.
Little pig.
When he gets back on his feet, he meets Father Martin, a crazy inmate believing he is a priest that ends up sedating Miles, stating that he must stay longer inside the asylum to witness the things happening there. Miles wakes up and finds himself deep inside a maze he cannot escape. As he discovers the atrocities of the asylum, he slowly begins to understand that the place turned into some sort of experiments facility where the mentally disturbed inmates were tortured. But he and the inmates aren't the only ones around, and the notes Miles picks up quickly reveal the presence of a ghost entity called the Walrider. This creature, hidden in the lower levels of the asylum, was given birth after some experiments made by scientists who created the nanites, microscopic parts of matter that can be manipulated by thought. The patients of the asylum were used as test subjects for the so-called Project Walrider and were carefully chosen for their troubled past to be then tortured to become suitable hosts for the Walrider. During his journey, Miles also meets completely insane Dr. Rick Traeger, another weird fellow who takes pleasure in torturing his patients while telling them he'll cure them. The gameplay. It's pretty simple. As a reporter, you have no weapons. Miles can simply hide himself, make basic interactions like open or close doors, or use his camera to find some clues and see in the dark. But he's also pretty agile, and you can lean over doors, hide under beds or inside lockers, crawl through vents or walk along walls. Compared to Amnesia, the world is definitely less interactive, as you can't pick up objects lying around and for instance throw them to slow your enemies down, but you get used to it. You can also collect documents describing patients' past or thoughts and find out more about the asylum and its inmates. Miles also takes notes every time you film a relevant place in the asylum, and you can feel his fear and pain as he strives for survival. And with all those written pieces of information at hand, you progressively understand what is really going on and the gloomy story behind all of this. There aren't real riddles or puzzles in Outlast like they were in Amnesia, since most of the time you'll simply have to push buttons or collect objects while being chased or hunted. Christopher Walker, the powerful inmate that stuns you pretty hard at the beginning of the game, keeps chasing you throughout the asylum and quickly becomes a pain in the ass if you don't find a trick or two to lure him. In a nutshell, as a harmless journalist, you spend your whole time trying to evolve in the asylum without getting caught by hostile inmates. Chases involve a lot of hiding and sneaking around in the darkness, and your camera sure comes in handy. The presentation. The presentation is great, not to say completely epic. Graphically top-notch, the game really has a discreet but amazing soundtrack that draws you in during the whole adventure. From the visual effects to Miles' heavy breath when being terrified, to the awesome design of the inmates, everything fits perfectly well together. One thing that's being more and more used in video game is the adaptive theme that kicks in at the right moment. I mean, even when you look at your notebook, there's a creepy sound effect. The level design is very good too, and you'll need some time to fully explore each area you're thrown in. Nothing feels too linear, and your objectives all gravitate around the main storyline that introduces a lot of unexpected and scary situations. You often feel so small and doomed each time you are being hunted down and never find the exit.
You want to head out and take a stroll? Go ahead, I'll wait here. Go on, run free. I'm in no hurry. No? Alright. Nose to the grindstone.
The conclusion. The only reproach I'll have to address to the game is its repetitiveness at times and pacing, which is not perfect, especially in the beginning. Other than that, you really get absorbed by Miles' adventure and you'll have a good amount of scares while playing Outlast. The game in itself is not that long, count about 5 hours to beat it. By the end of the game, you kinda end up wondering if Miles is not simply an inmate having a deformed perception of life, and the whole experience builds up a lot of tension. With a disturbing yet not revolutionary story, this game is a 2013 must-own, and its presentation makes the whole thing damn chilling. It simply is the best horror game of 2013 and a worthy successor of Amnesia. An 8.5 out of 10.